if safety is comfort, then yes, you should stay in the corporate world. But I don't think safety is comfort. I think safety means having the right skills for the 21st century. And the 21st century is about any skill becoming outdated in 6 months. And what's the best thing you can do to not become outdated? Found a company, because this challenges every skill of yours and teaches you to constantly listen, understand, make sense, adapt, change, and do it all over again. So in fact, safety is in developing the right skills. And what better way than working in a fast-paced environment to develop these skills?
Let's Talk Hydrogen, the podcast from H2 Hub. We bring the most exciting minds from the world of hydrogen and molecules to the microphone and talk about innovations, trends, and opportunities.
Yeah, dear all, welcome back to a new episode of Let's Talk Hydrogen. My name is Marina, responsible for PR and communication at H2 Hub. And today we are tackling the topic of startup careers in hydrogen. And for that purpose, I'm joined by two remarkable professionals who are shaping their own path in hydrogen and who, by the way, both won our Hydroverse Convention Best Pitch Award. So let me first introduce Dr. Abi Mountain. She's a business development manager at Supercritical from UK. And Supercritical is a startup redefining hydrogen production. Also sitting here with me virtually is Flore de Durfort, CEO and co-founder of Atmen. They are automating certification workflows across hydrogen, e-fuels and biomethane. Welcome, Abi and Flore.
Good morning.
Good morning to you both. Let me start with a small introduction question to both of you. Imagine you're at a conference and you have to explain in 2 sentences what your startup does. What would you say, Abi?
So at Supercritical, we've created the world's first high-pressure, ultra-efficient electrolyzer, which natively delivers green hydrogen at pressures of up to 220 bar. And by removing the requirement for gas compression downstream and by eliminating membranes, PFAS and iridium from our solutions, we offer an affordable and sustainable route to high-pressure hydrogen users in their transition towards a world beyond fossil fuels.
Wonderful. That sounds very expertly, which I would imagine coming from a business development manager, but I'm sure that Flore can follow that pitch up.
I can, and I'll do the same for Atmen. So Atmen is a software platform. We help gases and fuel producers and traders continuously, automatically certify that their products are green. So we process granular operational data, confront it with regulatory logics, so that we can label every batch of product going to the market. So our mission is really that every person on the supply chain of these complex energy-intensive goods can not only market products, but also attributes of this product in the safest and easiest way possible.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Flore. I find it very, I think it's great that both of you come from different parts of the value chain. And I think what's also remarkable is that you both come from different backgrounds, research, chemistry, business, entrepreneurship. So starting with you, Flore, what would you say is one skill from your previous life in corporate that's surprisingly useful in your startup journey today?
I had several previous lives. I think I can think of one skill. And this is simplifying without losing the substance. And that's actually something that I know I've learned and refined as I studied philosophy. I studied energy economics, energy markets, regulation, but also on the side I did 5 years of philosophy, including a master's. And what we really learn when you study philosophy deeply is starting from something super complex and then define, refine, dissect the logics, define each single word until you come to something lucid. And I think this is essential as a founder, actually. As a large part of the job is to help different parties make sense of a problem helping candidates understand your vision, helping customers understand the product. And you need to continuously create allies. And you cannot create allies if you make people feel stupid. And this simplification and like this need, for me, it's become like even a visceral need for simplicity is something that really grew on my skin. And I think it really comes from my student times, actually.
Would you say that applies to you as well, Abby, or would you stress another point from your previous life?
No, I mean that example really does resonate with me, and that was going to be my answer, Flore. But I do have another one as well, and it's actually so from my days in doing my PhD in academia, it's actually about resilience and perseverance. You spend 3 or 4 years of your life doing something incredibly isolating. You're the only person in the world really pushing that envelope in the very, very specific technical field. And you'll have terrible days. People talk about the second year blues, particularly difficult during the second year of your PhD. But that's been really helpful in the startup journey, knowing that you can get through something that's particularly difficult and that really exciting things come off the back of hard work.
And you both, when I'm well informed, which I hope I am, haven't spent your entire careers in hydrogen, right? So what would you say is unique about that industry?
I don't know if it's unique, but maybe I can start. There's something I find funny with the hydrogen sector is that paradoxically, it's a mix of old school and brand new, because hydrogen is not a new molecule at all, and so the sector is full of energy sector veterans, and you have all these people coming from Linde who've been doing this for 40 years, and they did their PhD back in the 70s on the topic. But you also have a lot of new enthusiasts, and I think culturally it makes it a very interesting sector, because it means it's also often a confrontation of cultures, as I see it. You have a lot of people counting on old recipes, while you still have a lot of new people who have this culture of go fast and break things. And I think this leads to interesting situations. And I think, now in a time where there is a big cleanup of the pipeline of projects, we see this, I think, exacerbated. And I find it funny. Coming from, let's say, the sexier parts of the industry where I was before, data center, digitalization, battery storage, it's way less diverse in these parts of the industry than in hydrogen.
Would you agree on that, Abby? I mean, you're coming from the industry background, right?
Yeah, so I have also come from a renewable chemicals background, but on the startup side, and then through a venture builder. So I do see that combination of the old boys club, as you might want to call it, and the new startup world, which is great. I think comparing the hydrogen industry to renewable plastics, where I was before, I actually found it an incredibly welcoming space for women. I think it was my third day on the job at Supercritical, and I was at the World Hydrogen Summit in Rotterdam. And close by was the stand for women in hydrogen. And I went over to say hi, and it was just wonderful, really, and great to see such incredible women on the stage and putting together networking events. And so I immediately felt welcome, and that there was somewhere where we could be championed.
Abby, I would like to follow up on that, because you said, just mentioned where you're coming from. Why did you decide to move into entrepreneurship?
Sure. So, I went into academia thinking that that's where I would be, but actually became frustrated with the intangible connection between what I was doing and actually seeing it operating in the real world. And I'm sure that many people in academia feel this. And I was actually given the opportunity to organize and work with a bunch of MBA students from the London Business School who are putting on a Clean Tech Challenge business plan competition, a global one. And that really opened my eyes to the world of entrepreneurship and to clean tech. And from that point, really, it was, okay, this is exactly what I want to be doing. This is fantastic. I can be working at the forefront of innovation and technology, but I can actually see those results much, much closer than, 10, 15 years down the line. So that for me was the real push to move into the world.
Fantastic. So in our pre-talks, Flore, you told me that you recently located to Madrid and now have great weather every day.
True.
But apart from that, how does a change of place affect the way you run a company? Because some of your teammates are still in Germany, right?
Yes, correct. I actually don't think it affects it too much. At Atmen, I think we take culture seriously. So actually we developed a concept of okay, why do we need to be in the office, and which office, and for which topics do we want to be in the same room, for which do we not care, how much autonomy do we want? So that's a discussion we've had early on. I think probably because the three founders, we worked years and years before. So we, when founding a company, we were also very excited about the cultural part of it. And what this means, to give you a concrete example, is that we developed a concept that 1 week per month, we call it the Frog Week, because somehow we have this expression at Atmen saying, eat the frog when there's a tough challenge. So 1 week per month, we deliberately meet in one office and we hack something, right? So there's always a tough topic that you cannot do just alone behind your screen. You need to be several. You need to whiteboard. You need to, be creative, use each other's brains. It's typically what takes a lot of brain power. And this we like to do every month. And this goes on wherever the team is. And so this is strong. I think if we maintain this, so it means that, these frog weeks are where a lot of the strong emotions happen within the team, and strong emotions are what is the cement of a culture, is how much strong emotion have you gone through as a team. And so I think having this rhythm of 1 week in the month, we really care, we know why we come to the office, we have a purpose, we're working jointly on one objective, and the rest of the time we're pretty free actually to go to the office if that's a place where we're well focused, etc., where we have colleagues to work with or to enjoy company. Meanwhile, the other rest of the time, so we have basically 3 locations: Berlin, Munich, and now Madrid, with a part of the team also located. And so far, so good. It's working well. So I'm not sure the impact is huge, but I think we had put some thought into it before we made this choice.
Yeah, sure. I would like to ask a provocative question. In regards to why you chose to work or found a startup. Because when I prepared for that episode, I asked the question, wouldn't it have been the safer way, especially when having a family, to take a 9-to-5 corporate job and with a steady and secure income, whatever that means, instead of facing the risk of entrepreneurship? And I would like to ask you both the question why you choose that path.
Abby, you want to start?
Sure. I mean, I admit I haven't been in anything other than a startup, so it's all I know. But I haven't wanted to move into the corporate steady life, for example. For me, it's the fast pace. It's cliche, but it's the fast paced nature of the work. It's the variety. It's the feeling that I get from doing what I do. What I would say is that when you are working for a company that fundraises and has a defined runway based on how much you raise, you have a clear outlook of, okay, this is actually how long I have until potentially I need to look for something else or need to do an extra part of fundraising. And so actually that can give you quite a lot of clarity around your finances, etc. But also we're seeing cuts across industry in corporate companies. So actually a corporate job these days is not as safe as people think it is. So for me, I'll continue doing what I'm doing.
I like it. I think I have a similar reaction to your question, Marina. Define safety. What is safety? And I think when I embarked on founding the company, actually, like, it was a stressful time. It was a stressful time, but also because I had to face a lot of people not understanding why I would do that. So prior to founding this company, I had a very comfortable situation. I had an important job. I was in charge of data monetization across the group at Eon. I had a large team, a big responsibility. I had been promoted successively very fast. So like, it was all on rails. I had just given birth to my second child. That would have been like, I guess, where a lot of people expecting me to just say, hey, now I'm on rails, so I can just use this comfort in a way. But that's not how it felt for me, actually. To me, at that stage, so that was in 2017, a bunch of things happened, but I felt two things. First, I felt I had reached the end of a cycle. I started working early at 22 in the corporate world, and did things, I don't know, very fast with a lot of curiosity and passion. And it means that at 28, I already had this team, as said, this responsibility, etc. And already my job had become, I'm a team lead, and like, my main success is linked with, how successfully I budget things and how well I manage a team. When I was 28, and it really felt like, okay, this I can do at 50, but it's too early. It felt like somehow it went too fast. So I felt like this end of a cycle, and at the same time, like a huge drive and burst of energy. And this was like even accelerated with the war in Ukraine, because actually during my maternity leave back then, the war in Ukraine hit, which hit me personally because I spent a lot of time in Russia and Ukraine. So I really felt like, okay, this is an energy crisis. This is a decarbonization crisis as well. We need to rethink everything. Suddenly all my professors of energy regulation were on the radio and, deciphering what the next era will look like. And I just thought like, I need to be part of it. And so to me, the desire for the rocky path of entrepreneurship preceded the business idea itself. And I really had like this wish of something richer than corporate career. And that's, maybe back to this definition of safety. If safety is comfort, then yes, you should stay in the corporate world. But I don't think safety is comfort. I think safety means having the right skills for the 21st century. And the 21st century is about any skill becoming outdated in 6 months. And what's the best thing you can do to not become outdated? Found a company, because this challenges every skill of yours and teaches you to constantly listen, understand, make sense, adapt, change, and do it all over again. So in fact, safety is in developing the right skills. And what better way than working in a fast-paced environment to develop these skills?
Abby, was it like that for you too? Was it like a groundbreaking shakeup, and did people also question your decision?
That's a good question. I think a lot of friends have kind of said, why don't you just go and get a job where you don't have to worry about, fundraising in a year and a half. But I think, Flore, you're completely right. The skills that I've developed through the eight, nearly 9 years of working in startups, I think has been accelerated so quickly because I've had to learn them myself. I've had to problem solve every single day. Every single day is almost like firefighting. And I'm very grateful for having had these opportunities to work in companies like these. And I think developing those skills over that time and going through the hard processes that you have to in order to get success in a startup.
So it touches on an important point, Abi. So I think safety is skill set, like a skill set which equips you to bounce back over and over again. But I think it's also a network. And something I really underestimated is how much founding and the startup environment in a sector you love, which is my case, propels your network. I totally underestimated that. Today, like I am amazed. Sometimes I look at my weeks and I, count the amount of new people I meet every week. It's unbeatable. And all of them are people I love interacting with. Customers, I love our customers. And, if I mention just a few, I mean, I don't know. And all these industrial companies, the lives of the world, the hydrogen, the Air Liquide, like I think they are wonderful companies. And I am continuously building a network of people that I would love to work with in another setup if things don't go as planned, etc. You never know. And I think network is a huge safety net. And entrepreneurship is a huge boost to your network. Also in places where you don't expect it. I didn't expect that I would create such a vast network of journalists, lawyers, notaries, tax advisors, founders. It's super diverse. It's not only, your customers. And I think this is worth $1 million. And when you stay in a comfortable job, you do not build this safety net. And one day you have a big trust capital. Next day, there's a change of top management. Your big boss, which was your supporter, leaves and you start from scratch. When everything is your own, like how resilient are you? It's unbeatable.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, the two jobs that I've recently moved into sequentially, both came from opportunities within my network. So, it's a proof in the pudding, really.
Mm-hmm. So, network is a huge point. Would you say that you, in your early stage careers, was there someone who would describe as a role model that really opened doors for you, that helped you move into who you are today, and maybe also into your entrepreneurship role?
I have so many, actually. It's hard to name just a few. I think of two people. One was one of the best managers I've had, Juan Bernabe, when I was at Eon, who was chief data officer for the group, who basically gave me huge responsibilities just when I left on maternity leave. When any average German corporate would have said, hey, you're going to want to slow down. I don't trust you're back in 6 months. I remember very well and vividly how I called him and I said, Juan, I applied for this job, but in the meantime, I'm expecting a child. So, if you want to tell me that maybe the timing is wrong, it's okay. He told me, Flore, no. First of all, I'm super happy for you. Second of all, it doesn't change anything. You're the person for this job, and whenever you're ready, you will take it, and I won't take anyone else. And I was like, whoa, never expected that. So I think that's one, and I think it was the trust and the support, the unconditional support from people that made a huge difference for me. Second person is my husband. I realized in hindsight, I think of this time actually, it was a very precise time because I had this vague idea of founding. I had coffee with Quentin and Erica, my co-founders. We literally had coffee, and after 20 minutes, we had decided everybody's leaving their jobs and we're founding a company together. And I remember coming, I was with my, 6-month-old in the arms. And I remember coming back, my husband was in home office back then, and telling them, hey, I think I'm going to found a company. And he looked at me and he said, awesome, I'm sure you'll rock it. And it was so out of the blue. And I couldn't believe he answered like this. Any person would have said, come on, was sleep over it. Is that your latest fad or this will pass or whatever? He just had such confidence, say I'll support you. That was amazing. And I think if he had reacted negatively, to be honest, it's not sure. I would have done the push. You cannot fight all battles. So these would be my two. What are yours, Abi?
Less romantic, but I would say I feel like I now can't say my partner because you've said that bit, but obviously my partner. But I suppose during my PhD, when I realized that I didn't want to stay in academia, my supervisor was very, very supportive of allowing me to explore different avenues. And so I was involved in the organization of that global clean tech business plan challenge 2 years in a row. And that really, helped my network and helped me understand what it took to pitch, what goes on underneath the skin of a startup, and really introduced me to the clean tech world in general. So I would say him. And then during my time at my first startup, which was waste plastics to chemicals, there was actually a senior leader at a competitor company, Jeff Brighty, who he must have seen something in me, but he really helped me in making a profile for myself within the industry. He would put my name forward for panels and talks that he couldn't do and suggested me instead, which he definitely didn't need to, and I thought was incredibly nice. But actually, it helped me in getting over some stage fright that I had, and I wouldn't have won the Hydrobuzz convention pitch competition if I hadn't been pushed in that direction to doing more public speaking.
Mm-hmm. I would like to follow up on that job you had at the Venture Builder. How has that experience shaped your approach to business development at Supercritical?
I would say in a big way. So the Venture Builder I was at was Deep Science Ventures, and they differentiate themselves by creating companies from an outcome-focused view. So rather than taking a technology and trying to push it into markets and fit it to a problem, you take a problem and you look at what is stopping a solution from fitting that. And so I take that approach to business development now, which is trying to find out from a company what their pain points are, what are their problems, rather than just shoving your business idea in their face. Find out, why are you stalling to get green ammonia off the ground? What particular part of green hydrogen? Is it the pressure? Is it the renewables up downtime? What is it? And you can work out whether or not your solution is worth anything to them. If not, it's good to know that early on so you can walk away. Secondly, you can tailor your value proposition to something that really means something to them, and you're much more likely to have success together as a partnership in doing that.
So focus on the problem and not shove your solution onto them.
Yeah. Listen more.
yeah. And Flore, I would like to highlight your seed round in June for 5 million euros. Congratulations again on that. I think it was a real milestone for you and then the company Atmen. What would you say was the most surprising thing that an investor said to you during your pitch?
Most surprising thing. I think of one investor, of course, I cannot name anyone. I think of one investor with whom we had a few calls, and actually the personal fit was extremely strong. There was a lot of energy in the room when we met. And at some point I got the feedback, and the feedback was really very colloquially saying, you know what, we love it. This gets us excited. We believe you can do great things, but we just can't settle with the idea of investing in this space. Sustainability, gases and fuels in particular. Why didn't you found something in any other space than sustainability? And well, what can I say to that? I mean, it was actually some of the first conversations we had in this round. And so, there was not much of an answer to give to that. But I think some investors are very opinionated on certain spaces, and this precedes all the rest. So in a way, it was frustrating, and at the same time, it just meant there was no match, and that's it. But yeah, I think this went as quite as a surprise, because I think when you get to this level of excitement, you actually won a big part of the battle. So that was an interesting one. But for sure, a fun topic, fundraising, that is worth a separate talk.
I would like to let's call it a closing statement or a closing discussion. I would like to follow up on the one that we had before, where I asked provocatively why you didn't like go into a corporate job. I mean, because when we look at the hydrogen industry, it faces similar challenges to the wider tech economy that you already named, and far fewer women work there than men. How would you say, how can you turn that imbalance into an advantage?
So I think, it isn't just about filling quotas here. I think it's very much about bringing in all the different perspectives you can to be able to make a successful industry within tech, within hydrogen, wherever how much research has there been showing that diverse backgrounds give you better results. I mean, and as a startup, you're always looking for that competitive edge. And I think if you include a more diverse team, you're much more likely to have that. I don't know if that's directly answering your question of how can we turn it into an advantage. I think that's maybe quite a philosophical question. So maybe one Flore can better articulate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if better articulate, but I'm just thinking like how to answer this question without being cynical, because I think, it is a weakness of any industry, like you're saying, Abi, that there's not more diverse set of ways of thinking. It's just stronger this way. The reality, though, is when you are, I take my example as a founder in this space, it's most of the time that I'm one woman out of 10, 20, 30 others, which are men. And I think a cynical but super true understanding of this is, okay, we're in an era of information abundance. And in this era, memorability is key. And so in a paradoxical way, being always the only woman in 20 companies presented on stage, what you have for you is some form of uniqueness, which can be part of your personal branding too. So, it's a bit, okay, how can you turn it to your advantage? And I think it's a bit cynical, but it's true. Like whatever you can do to be memorable will make you successful. Because, people buy brands, people buy emotions, and in the end, like these precious decisions push a business. And so I think one shouldn't be afraid of just playing what you are and making this difference memorable in a way, and insisting on it even.
And when a young woman comes to you today and asks, should I start a company, would you recommend it?
It's a tough one. I think it's not for everyone. And I think we need to be careful also of like not pushing our own models to others. I also fully respect some people are more or less risk averse. And I think, it's everyone's call. But I think we've touched upon that in the previous part of the discussion, also UIB. So I think I would tell this woman, honestly, you cannot really lose at this game. If you have the energy to do it now, and if it feels right, like listen to your gut feeling. That's just such an important piece of advice. But also, like, it's not that risky. Like your labor market value might go up even if the company doesn't succeed because you've developed all these wonderful skills. And so, entrepreneurship is not a one-way door, it's a two-way door. And you can always come out of it stronger unless you ruin your health, right? So I would say, take care of yourself, do what you love. And if somehow entrepreneurship, ticks a lot of boxes of things that give you energy, go for it. And honestly, don't think twice. And, there's always a way out if things don't go as planned. Go for it.
Do you agree, Abi? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I don't have the personal experience of starting my own company yet. But I do see it in my future, and nothing I have seen from working within entrepreneurship has put me off so far. So I would agree with what Flore is saying. If you are excited by doing it, if you think you have the support around you, go for it.
I think these are fantastic closing words. So, on that note, dear Abi and dear Flore, a big thank you for sharing your journeys and being so honest with all of us. And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to follow us at H2 Hub. Thanks for listening and see you next time. And thanks again, Abi and Flore.
Thank you, Marina and H2 Hub.
Thank you.